Good afternoon to everyone. One more section in SAP Track Fortaleza 2024. And today we are talking about that. We have Mateo from Barcelona. Mateo is the only one that participates in all of our online sections each year. So we congratulate you and thank you very much to support us, to help us with this event. And I will pass the words to you. You can present yourself. And after them, we are here to talk about your presentation. Thank you very much, Danny. And welcome.
Thank you for inviting me again. So it's a great pleasure to participate many years with this great organization. And yes, today we are discussing about artificial intelligence in SAP S/4HANA Finance. So I'm SAP project manager with 17 years of experience in finance, and I'm located in Barcelona. And we will have afterwards a specific slide with an intro of myself. So, shall we start?
Yes, you can start.
Okay, good. So thank you everyone for joining in this session. And the agenda of the today's event is first we'll go through a brief introduction about myself. Then we'll go about what is artificial intelligence and the main features that it has. And then we will explain the basics of the three main tools that artificial intelligence provides in SAP Finance, that they are related to the SAP Joule, the Cash Application, and the Advanced Financial Closing. And we'll finalize. If there are any questions to be provided, we can double check. So let's start. So as we already introduced, I have 17 years of experience in SAP, mainly in finance and controlling modules, but also in logistics. And I hold multiple professional certifications, such as SAP Activate Project Manager, S/4HANA Financial Accounting, PMP, ITIL, among others. And my main focus is international projects. So I already participate in 7 SAP rollouts in America, 12 in Europe, but also 3 greenfield implementations in S/4HANA and 2 global upgrades. So as part of artificial intelligence, what is this famous wording that we are every day listening about? So this is a generic sentence or few words that they are related to computer systems that are capable of doing very complex tasks that usually we were only thinking that a human being can do it. So they are impacting for some complex reasoning, also how to make decisions, solve problems, interpret pictures, and more of those actions that only humans were intended to do. In that case, we are considering 3 main range of technologies that they include machine learning, in which the system has algorithms that based on previous data and with statisticals, it tries to identify and perform tasks without giving very detailed instructions. So this is one of the capabilities, but also it has deep learning that in addition to use statistical algorithms, it can use neuronal networks with multiple layers that they are called deep neuronal networks that they can simulate complex decisions, similar as a human brain. So that it's pretty powerful tool. And finally, most of the artificial intelligence systems has also the capability of natural language processing. So that means that it can analyze the natural language of any human body and also the speech. So it can interpret normal text, also try to identify audios, pictures, or any way of communication more in a natural way instead of giving very technical information. So, given to that, as it's a new technology, it has both benefits, but also we need to take into account some risks that we may face with this artificial intelligence. What are the main benefits that we already may know? So one is it's improve the efficiency of the processes as it's automating with a high efficiency, but so it allows us to reduce the operational costs. That is a very good benefit. And also it allows to have a great personalization for the services and products. So you can create very easily a great amount of different types of services in very quick. Also, it allows to do or to take decisions very quick given some situations that the artificial intelligence should be trained for that. Also, in relation to the digital services, it is very quick to generate new content, either pictures or text, so it can improve any social media information. Also, it can run multitasks and also reduce the workload for the current colleagues that may be having huge tasks to be done. And also good benefit is it always work 24/7, so there are no expected interruptions, neither downtime. So those are a very powerful benefits, but we need also to assess the risks. So as we are depending on the data that we are using to train, the artificial intelligence can have some bias or some discrimination in the output. So if we don't have a very full, accurate trained data, you can get not the expected results. Also, depending on how the artificial intelligence is built, it can have some cybersecurity issues. So anyone can be connected and you can have some privacy issues with the data that you can handle it. Also, it can have some low transparency depending on how the development is performed, and maybe it's not considering the optimal solution. So we need to be sure that the data that we're providing is really analyzed before in order to be sure that the decisions are as expected. Also, given as this technology is generating a lot of information, there is the possibility that it can share some wrong information, or it can be even violating some European laws mainly, or some regulations that for privacy reasons we may not use this tool. And last risk, it can make the colleagues or some users or some workers a bit more lazy as it's automating all the workload. So we need also to assess to improve the work environment and have motivation for that. So overall, those are pretty good benefits, but we need always to consider some risks. That depends or of any artificial intelligence, not only the one related to SAP. So if we go deep dive on what are the products that SAP delivers in the finance area, we may focus in the three main ones. The first one is the SAP Joule, that it's a copilot, and it allows to interact with him or with this copilot to get all the tasks to be done for SAP, and also to get further analysis with powerful data. Also, it's a different way to interact with SAP. Instead of using the transactions of the Fiori Launchpad, it will be more user-friendly and easy to analyze all the data, as we will see afterwards. And this solution is currently available in SuccessFactors, but also in SAP Build code for developers. And in case of S/4HANA, it's in both. It's in cloud, both public and private. It's not on-premise currently. It will be delivered on-premise in the future, but not now. Another tool that we will go through is the SAP Cash Application, that it's to automate and improve the bank statement processing, mainly in the order to cash flows. And the idea is that it's to reduce all the manual tasks and all the processing that are being performed as part of the bank statements for either open receivables, but also open payable. And this solution is available for both cloud and also on-premise editions in S/4HANA. And finally, another interesting tool is the SAP Advanced Financial Closing, that is to improve and automate the financial closing for month-end, but also for year-end closing in finance. So it already has some best practices pre-delivered that you can use with the templates in order to be quick to implement it. And there is a continuous optimization, and it's using the S/4HANA Cloud as well. So now that we saw an introduction about those three tools, we'll go with a bit more detail for each of them. If we start with the SAP Copilot, that it's Joule the name, as we already mentioned, it can allow to interact easily to perform tasks within multiple SAP solutions. In case of finance, we have three main functionalities. One is to improve the analysis. So first, it helps us in order to identify the transactions more easily, but it also analyzes all the data and summarize the different finance statements or the different revenues in order to not need to assess all the items, or even can create summaries of any multiple topics that we want to get an accurate information. But in addition to analyze, it also has some way to navigate or to ask, or the users can ask any need, or with using business language. You don't need to be any technical, and the Copilot system will propose what is the best Fiori app and will open this Fiori app for them. And also as part of the transactional data. So you can ask for some specific business object and the system will open it. So you can ask for a sales order, for a purchase order, for a finance document that has any GL impacted, and it will show what is the document, and you can drill down to the document itself. So it's a very powerful tool that the main use case is to improve the user interaction with SAP. So for that, we can see just a brief video about this solution, that it's very short one, and in that case, it shows how you can interact with it. In that case, you can ask any question so far, and then you can open the Fiori Launchpad, and it will go through the tiles that you are asking for. So you can get all different values, but also you can perform transactions. So in that case, you can choose who is or who needs to approve some tasks, but also you can create, in that case, this is a transportation order, but you can ask to create a posting document, and then the system will launch the workflow or will be able to create the document from a very simple request. You don't need to be more complex. So now that we saw a brief example is how we can join or how we can start using this tool. In case of if we have the S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition, we need to join the early adopter care phase. If we already have it, or if we are now implementing the Cloud Public Edition, we need to request it. If we already implemented, we can sign up later. To do it, we can follow. There are full detailed analysis in those OSS now, but at the end is just to go in this link that is influence.sap.com, and then there is a section to go through the earlier adopter care programs, and there is one specific for SAP Joule. In that case, just to mention that this early adopter care, there is a good way to have discussions with SAP experts, and also to get any update from any artificial intelligence improvement that the system is doing as part of Joule, but also for other solutions. So this is for SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition, how to join. If we are in the private edition, it will be only available after the 2023 FSP 01 or later, and we will be only able if we are implementing it using RISE with SAP. So it's a very limited scope, but in the future it will also include on-premise, but for the time being it's public cloud with early adopter care or private edition with RISE with SAP. But once we are sure that we want to join, we need also to consider that there are some prerequisites, but also some constraints that we will see. In that case, we need to have the identity authentication active. So it's the way to integrate the solution, and it's built on BTP. So we need to have a BTP license and within enterprise, or it should be an enterprise account on BTP, but also have a specific sub account in the BTP to have Joule provision or activated. And then we require as well to have or to define a trust link with the IS authentication and the sub-account that we have defined. And finally, we need to also use the SAP build work zone. In that case, the standard edition should work. So it requires multiple tools to be added in order to have this SAP Joule up and running. And we need to consider the current constraints. The first one, that it can limit some companies, it's only available in English language. So if you are planning to use it in different language, currently there is only English. And if you have custom developments done or any extra add-on, is not currently supported. It's only standard domains that you may use for cloud solutions in public or private. Also, very limited one is that you can only connect one Joule instance to one S4HANA system. You cannot connect to multiple ones. So you will, if you want to have a test environment, you will need also to have another Joule instance connected to the test environment. And in relation to that, for the authorization, we need also to have a specific tenant to be linked. And another constraint is that there are the option that we can only send up to 3,000 requests per minute, considering all the users. So if we have, or if we are getting a number higher than those ones, we will get an error until the minute is passed. So those are the constraints that we need also to consider. In the upcoming releases, it will improve. So this is a very powerful tool, but it, from my point of view, it's still having a bit constraints that we need to consider. There is this link that it contains the full documents, how to integrate Joule with any SAP. This is for S4HANA, but you can also use for SuccessFactors. It's a bit more advanced, but also there are with coding and solution with coding. So you can go to this link. So we can then go to the next solution that is for cash application. So that is a very interesting tool if we are managing the bank statements. And ideally, it's a group of cloud services that we are sending all the information from SAP S4HANA, either all the payments, but also all the open invoices to the matching engine. This matching engine is also built on BTP. And what is the idea? That this matching engine is having machine learning to learn from the past, but also has some country-specific behavior. So depending on the country, it has some predefined rules, and it learns based on the past to automate the bank statement processing. And also, it provides some templates that you can reuse by your needs, and you can define the rules that you want that the bank statement monitor runs them. So the good thing is that automates also the clearing, and you can get the list of proposed match to match the bank statement against the open item invoice that you have in the system to clear them. So that improves in reducing the number of days that you can get the collection. So if you see that some collection is not being performed, you can directly run the done-in procedures, or you can handle, as long as you can always post a daily bank statement, you are improving this process. And also to reduce the workload for the account receivable team to match all the open items. And also it's a good chance for business that is growing to transfer some processes to the shared services. So those will be mostly automated, and you don't need to have as once the system is learned the processing, you don't need to have so much experience to run the reconciliation of the bank statements. So in that case, we can see also just a short video for this solution. So in that case, it's based on a learning model for which the system will try to match all the bank statements. So this is just the monitor, how it's showing the open items versus the ones that are ready to be transferred. And then we can create multiple templates. So this is an example how to create a template that we can run either background or online. And a good thing that it allows to have is also you can attach some payment advice and the system will interpret the payment advice, as we will see now, and will read all the data and will match the invoices from the payment advice that has been sent by the customer. So we will go now through the main services that this add-on delivers. One is the line item matching for account receivable. So in that case, this system is getting all the open items that we have, and it's based on the incoming bank statement items, they identify and clears them. It's in similar way for the accounts payable that are related to the direct debit payments. So if we have direct debits or amounts that are debited in our bank account, the system reading the bank statement and also the open items, it will clear most of the items, and we can define some rules based on thresholds or depending on even some workflows for approval. But also, this is also a useful tool in case that we have a lot of invoices and there are no clarity which is the customer that is being paid. The system can identify based on some rules, either by tax number or by some reference, what is the customer that relates to the invoice. And then if there are multiple invoices, the system can show which ones will be clear, and then the user can confirm which ones. And the tool that we saw in the video is also if you have some payment advice in PDF or in some non-flat file, the system can you can attach it, and the system will interpret those PDF or pictures and will then try to automate the clearing of the open items before you get the bank statement. So it's just a useful way in case that customer sends you a payment advice, and then if you want to clear it, you can upload it, and then the system will run it before you get the bank statement. And what are the prerequisites? So in similar way as Joule, it's built on BTP. So we need to have the enterprise account on BTP and also define the connection. In that case, we need also to have it's available in the version 2020 or over. It's also available on-premise, on cloud as well. And we need to purchase an extra license. That is, this is the best practice that is related to the cash application integration. So at the end is, in addition to BTP and all the connection and readiness, we need to have a license for this add-on, and then it can be built from premise or cloud, public, private. And this system, in addition to that, it delivers, as we mentioned, some templates. So these templates makes easier some processing in the reconciliation during the bank statement reconciliation. In that case, this is a Fiori app that it's existing in order to define some rules based on the templates. So this is also available for on-premise or for any cloud solution, but if we add the advanced cash application, the system will have multiple job templates that those are not available on premise. So what does it mean? If you have the on-premise without adding the add-on of cash application, you will have also this Fiori app, but not any of those new templates. So once you activate the add-on for cash application, the system will appear new job templates. One is the open items upload. In that case, it's just to transfer all the open items to the matching engine. Another is for the pre-analysis statistics. But in that case, it's a way to analyze the data, and then the system will, or you can choose if it's either to run actual postings or to train the system. So it will read all the data, it will match with the bank statement, and then you will have the option to either run actual or training based mode. And also there is a specific template only for training. So based on the data that you are transferring on those templates, the system will learn. And then based on how you are matching manually records, the system will try to do it following the same rules as the user manually do, but as automated process. And the last template is for reprocessing and to clear automatically all the documents based on the source data that it took from the first template. So at the end, there are optimized templates that it can use artificial intelligence and learning in order to improve the finance reconciliation. And you can use in the same tool as you can use for the normal bank statement reconciliation. And then, last but not least, is the SAP Advanced Financial Closing. This is a good way to improve the financial closing, either monthly or year-end closing. And what is the main purpose? Is to resolve or to address most of the errors or issues that the system or the users identify during the month-end closing. For that, it focuses in three main functionalities. One is also, as we saw for the bank statement or for the cash application, it provides templates that you can use and just adjust slowly or slightly to use the best practices recommended by SAP, and it will improve the execution of the month-end closing. Also, as it's intended to run most of the tasks in automated way, it increase the efficiency and also reduce the time to perform the closing of those tasks. And it's more intuitive for the user. So there will be, there is a tile or a tool in advanced financial closing that the user will see with full traceability what are the tasks that has been executed, what is outstanding, or if there is any error, how to address it. And then it's improve the monitoring with a real-time monitor to see what is the status, how to take decisions depending on what are the tasks to be executed, and so see what is the critical path for the closing for each entity. So in that case, we can see what are the main Fiori apps that are delivered also in BTP. It's an add-on that requires as well this BTP platform. And ideally is the first Fiori app is to define what are the tasks that will be performed for each entity in the month-end closing or year-end closing. So the general ledger accountant will define what are the closing tasks, taking as reference the templates that are being delivered. And then once they are defined, every month they will run the task. So there is a Fiori app that you can run, and then the system will show how many tasks are intended to be run manual, which ones are automatic, and the prerequisite to execute. If there are some workflows defined, then the manager should or will get an approval work item to run them. And there is also an interesting Fiori app that the manager can get the overview for each entity, what is the status about the financial closing, and then also to confirm the completion. So once everything looks good, then they can confirm the completion and then submit to the either group reporting or to any consolidation group to review the data. And then there is also interesting a change log. Any change that is being done during the whole process, it's being stored in a change log table. So the general ledger accountant, but also the manager, will have access to display who did the changes and what was the time that was executed. So we can see just this is the example of the launchpad with the financial advance compliance, advanced financial closing. In that case, we can see some of the ones that we have been mentioned to define the closing task, also to process the task, approve, and the final overview and closing task completion. So those are the main ones, and the change log. So those ones are the main testing ones. There are also some configuration ones, but those will be handled by consultants, not the end users. So the last 5 are to configure some specific access, or if they need to lock some of the processes. And we can see, so for instance, this is the task list, and it shows what is the status. So for instance, if it has been started, if it has been already complete without any error, if there are any errors to be checked, and then there is the action that it can be. So for instance, if there is some error, then it can be reprocessed, or it can be, for instance, in some of them, it can be scheduled. So this is one activity that has been intended to be manual, but it can be scheduled to be run in background tomorrow, and then the system will already perform this task. Usually, what is the approach is to automate most of the tasks as possible, and then the user, while enter, will review if those tasks are already completed. If there are some error, it's just need to go why this process failed. They can click in process, and then they will be able to manually adjust something if needed. If not, everything should be as complete, or most of them will be complete automatically. In case that the user wants to see also in the same transaction, there is the option, once you drill down for activity, you can see what is the interdependency from other tasks, and then if the tasks have been performed already or not. So in that case, the task that we were checking is depreciation posting run, that if we recall in the previous transaction, it was still not yet performed. Why? So we have 4 tasks that has a dependency. That one is the execute settlement for asset under construction, that this one has been already executed, is on green. Asset balance, that is one that it's under execution, it's ongoing, but it's is the one that we have already entered, it's on blue. And then we have the close IP and also park company overhead, and those ones are finalized but with warnings, so we can see this is the status. So once everything is in green or we confirm that those warnings are fine, then the task will be automatically executed or we can execute. And then there are the ongoing tasks that we will be able to run after the precision posting run. And also, as we mentioned before, the system can process or can automatically trigger some workflows. And then, depending, for instance, of some thresholds or some variance, the system can trigger some workflows that then the manager or the responsible needs to approve to move forward with the task. In that case, this is an example of only 2 tasks that needs to be approved. Once they are approved, then the flow will move forward. And just to finalize the prerequisites, it's similar as the other add-ons. As we mentioned, it's built in BTP, so we will need to have also the BTP enterprise account, and also we need to create a specific sub-account for the BTP advanced financial closing. And also, similar as the other ones, we can only connect one instance to one S/4HANA system. So if we require to have also this environment, we will need to think if we create 2 instances or we need to relink, but at the end it's only one possibility to have only one instance to one S/4HANA system. And there are more detailed documents as part of this functionality in this link, so that you can take as reference. So this is all from my side. I hope that you enjoyed the presentation. It's a bit, there are many topics and some of them it was more quick to check, but those are the main powerful tools.
It was very interesting, Danny. I was very surprised because so many times when we talk with some managers about the AI, some managers from finance, we talk about other use case, and you bring us with the big case with bank statement, and it is very interesting because so many times it's difficult to match all the records, and never I thought about use AI in this case, and it is interesting. And the question is, it was about the other use case that probably you know, or someone talked about you in finance, because when I talk with the managers, almost of the time they talk me about the cash flow, to use the AI to give a better information about how many receivables I will be today, because we know that so many times the information that the due date is today, the customer could not pay today. So what we can improve in that? So many times the people say, but because the system could think about the calendar, could look if it is holidays in my state, in my city, could look if it was in the spring or in the winter, etc. So it was almost of the people when asked me about AI in finance, tell me the use case about cash flow. and you give us a different example about bank statement that it is very interesting too. Did you hear so many examples that the people look for?
So that one of that or the latest customers that we were checking, they were assessing the cash application for bank statements. So it's a tool to improve the matching, as we saw before, for bank statements. But also for, it's not artificial intelligence, but it's something related, and it's try to automate all the reports to tax authorities. And then there are document compliance and reports that
Could be a good option.
it allows also to improve many automatic tasks, but it's not purely based on artificial intelligence. So it's
More machine learning.
machine
This
learning,
machine learning.
correct, and to match all the values to a specific data set that you define, and all the legal authorities can get this information.
Okay.
And also a lot of interfaces, so mainly with the banks or the multi-banking system to try to connect.
Because Mattia, I suppose that all the configuration that we do in bank statements to have the match, the standard configuration. If we use this type of technique, we don't need anymore the older configuration in SAP.
Correct, yeah. It's improving. So to get all the customers and the clearing, you can do it, but you still need to assign all the transactions to the posting that you
The
want.
customer, that
So
it
for
is
instance,
better difficult.
yeah,
Understood.
so each bank will have the different transactions, and you still need to map the transactions to the posting that you want to do. But with this add-on, it improves how to get which customer is and what are the items to match. So you need still to do all the configuration.
Understood. This question is only about the customers or vendors, probably, to match the fields and close the open item.
Correct. And the manual
Okay.
tasks are reduced as well.
Okay, I suppose it's all of them. Thank you very much for your lectures. And I suppose that we can have next year or probably in Barcelona.
Yes,
Yeah,
that will be
we
great.
can. Thank you very much. See
Thank
you.
you so
Bye
much.
bye. Bye bye.
Fine.
Thank you,
Bye bye,
Danny.
Joel.
Thank you.